Welcome back to Capital Catch-Up, your insider's guide to the marble halls of Washington. I'm Victor.
And I'm Lenny. It is late January 2026, and if you thought Congress was going to ease into the new year, the sheer volume of paper hitting the clerk's desk says otherwise. We have a massive stack of legislation, a flurry of judicial nominations, and committee schedules packed tighter than a rush-hour metro car.
That's right, Lenny. We are looking at a week defined by the 3 Ps: purse strings, personnel, and, well, procedure. Let's start with the big money. We have House Bill 6938 moving through the pipeline. This is the Commerce, Justice, Science, Energy, and Water and Interior Appropriations Act for 2026.
A classic minibus spending package. For our listeners who don't speak Appropriations Committee, this basically bundles several massive funding bills into one vehicle to ensure key departments, like the DOJ and the Department of Energy, keep the lights on. It avoids a government shutdown, but it also means there's a lot of policy hiding in the fine print.
Exactly. And speaking of keeping track of money, there's an interesting transparency measure on the docket. House Bill 7026, the Fiscal State of the Nation Act. It would require a joint hearing of the House and Senate Budget Committees to receive a presentation from the Comptroller General.
Which feels long overdue. It's an attempt to force Congress to look at the audited financial statements of the government, sort of a State of the Union, but strictly for the balance sheet. It builds on previous efforts to make the national debt more than just a talking point during election years.
Shifting from the macro to the micro, we've noticed a specific focus on government accountability and, interestingly enough, aesthetics. Lenny, tell us about the art and embassies crackdown.
This one caught my eye. House Bill 7028 requires the Secretary of State to notify Congress before obliging funds for certain art purchases, paired with House Bill 7054, which demands notification for non-standard designs in construction projects. It seems the House is tightening the leash on how the State Department projects American soft power abroad.
It's the age-old tension, distinct architectural diplomacy versus fiscal conservatism. But it's not just about buildings, it's about people. We have House Bill 5578, the Whistleblower Protections for Contractors Act of 2025.
This is crucial, Victor. Historically, federal employees have had stronger whistleblower protections than the private contractors working alongside them. This bill aims to close that loophole. If you see fraud or abuse, your paycheck shouldn't depend on your silence, regardless of who signs the check. This dovetails with House Bill 1036, the Ensuring Accountability and Dignity in Government Contracting Act. On the Senate side, the focus is squarely on veterans and energy. Senate Bill 275, the Access Act, is making waves. It stands for Veterans Assuring Critical Care Expansions to Support Service Members. The Access Act addresses a critical bottleneck. We've seen committee hearings, specifically the June 26th retrospective on the VA's National Work Queue, highlighting how claims get stuck in the digital ether. This bill, alongside the House's WISH Act, House Bill 2082, pushes for faster, more reliable healthcare access. It's about fulfilling the promise made to those who served.
And in the energy sector, we have Senate Bill 2132, the Clear Path Act, and Senate Bill 1697, the RAISE Act. Plus, the House is looking at House Bill 1346, the Nationwide Consumer and Fuel Retailer Choice Act.
That last one is significant for anyone filling up a gas tank. It's likely pushing for year-round E15 ethanol sales, which has been a regulatory football for years. The goal is lower prices at the pump, though it always sparks a debate between the oil industry and the corn lobby.
Let's talk about who is going to be enforcing these laws. The Senate executive calendar is full. We are seeing a wave of nominations for United States attorneys and district judges.
It is a judicial blitz. We have Nicholas John Ganji for the Southern District of Texas, David Clay Folks for the Western District of Arkansas, and Megan Blair Benton for the Western District of Missouri, among others.
And don't forget the U.S. attorneys, Andrew Benson for Maine and William Boyle for North Carolina. These aren't just names on a list. These are the people who will determine prosecutorial priorities in their districts for the next 4 years.
It is also worth noting the confirmations fill vacancies left by retirements, like Judge Lynn Hughes in Texas. Keeping the judicial bench fully staffed is essential for the swift part of swift justice.
Now let's look at the committee rooms. There was a fascinating lineup recently. The Oversight Committee held a hearing titled Anti-American Antitrust: How Foreign Governments Target U.S. Businesses.
That is a major shift in tone. Usually antitrust hearings focus on what American companies are doing wrong. This flipped the script to discuss how foreign regulations, particularly from the EU or China, might be unfairly hamstringing American innovation.
And on the security front, we had a closed hearing on the FY 2026 Department of Defense proposal for Cover Enhancement Authority.
Cover enhancement usually refers to intelligence operations, improving the fake identities and backstories for operatives. The fact that it was a closed hearing underscores the sensitivity. Meanwhile, in a public hearing, they discussed smarter borders using non-intrusive inspection technology,
which is the high-tech way of scanning trucks for contraband without unloading every single pallet. It speeds up commerce while securing the border.
We also have to mention a cultural milestone. Both chambers, through House Resolution 136 and Senate Resolution 83, are moving to designate February 2025 as Hawaiian Language Month, or Oleo Hawaii Month.
It's a beautiful gesture. The Hawaiian language was banned in schools in the late 19th century after the overthrow of the kingdom. This designation builds on the renaissance we've seen in the last few decades to revitalize the language.
And on a floral note, Senate Resolution 367 designates July 2025 as American-Grown Flower and Foliage Month. It sounds light, but it's actually a big deal for domestic agriculture, supporting local farmers over imported blooms.
Before we wrap up, I want to touch on the congressional record from January 20th through the 23rd, volumes 172, numbers 13 through 16. If you read through the extension of remarks, you see a lot of activity regarding the Equal Representation Act, House Bill 151, and the Information Quality Assurance Act, House Bill 6329.
House Bill 6329 is a sleeper hit for administrative law nerds. It forces agencies to use high-quality, reproducible science when making rules. It sounds dry, but it gives businesses a powerful tool to challenge regulations they think are based on faulty data.
And finally, a curveball from the committee schedule, in their corner, creating more opportunities for American boxers.
I loved seeing this. Boxing often falls through the cracks of federal oversight compared to the stick and ball sports. This hearing looked at safety, pay equity, and how the Muhammad Ali Boxing Reform Act is holding up 20-plus years later.
So what should our listeners watch for in the coming days?
Keep your eyes on the markup for the Tribal Trust Land Homeownership Act, House Bill 2130. Expanding housing access on tribal lands is a bipartisan priority that is finally getting floor time. And of course, watch that Commerce and Justice Appropriations Bill, House Bill 6938. If that stalls, we could be looking at a funding fight.
We'll be here to break it down. Thanks for listening to Capital Catch-Up.
Stay engaged, and we'll see you next time.